Oh. Hi, it's Todd from Todd's Workshop and Tod Cutler here, and today we're going to have a look at these historically accurate falchions. Basically trying to work out what they do and what they don't do. And there is no better way of doing that than doing that. So I've got a ballistic gel torso here, and I'm going to dress it up in progressive layers of armour. So we're going to put a fabric Gambeson on it. What do they do? We'll put mail on it. What do they do? We'll put plate armour on it. Will they do anything at all? And what is the difference between, quite sharp and really sharp? How much of a difference does that make to this guy at the end of the day? Are falchions the half sword, half axe I was originally told 30 years ago when I started reenacting? Or are they more specialised than that? Can you use them for camp activities? Can you chop wood, sharpen stakes with them? But the thing is, people used to think that these things were brutally heavy. But they're not. They look like they are. But the thing is, you've got a really clever, really sophisticated tapering system going on here. So it brings the weight further back towards the hand. And what it does is it makes these things absolutely brutal, yes, but not brutally heavy. So what are falchions really like if they're not massively heavy? Well, let's start with the self-evident truth. And that is, they're tools. They're tools for soldiers to do their job. And any tool that is badly designed or doesn't do the job won't get used. So the thing is, if you can't use it for fighting, there is something just not right. And massively heavy is definitely not what they were. I have 3 falchions here, all from different time periods, all available from todcutler.com. So we have a cleaver falchion, 13th, 14th century, clip point falchion, 14th century, Wakefield hanger, 15th century. But to be honest, it's the great cleaving blades that I wanted to have a look at today. And so the Wakefield hanger with a more traditionally shaped and sized blade, we're just going to cast to one side. Today is not its day. Both blades are broad, and in the case of the cleaver falchion, really broad. And that means that there would be a heck of a lot of weight out front if this blade was thick. That would make the whole thing unmanoeuvrable. You just wouldn't be able to use it. And so actually, they do something really quite clever. It starts thick, but very rapidly thins down. And so here it's about 3.5 millimeters. By the time you get here, it's about 2, maybe a little bit more. And the most famous sword of this type is the Conyers falchion in Durham Cathedral. It's longer, it's deeper. But at this point here, at the widest section of the blade, it's only 1.2 millimeters thick, thinner than a steel ruler. And then we have the clip point here. And this is a slightly more robust version of a falchion, but still the principles still apply, that it's thicker at the guard here, drops rapidly, and then comes to a steady taper. And what that means, as I said before, is they are manoeuvrable. You can use them. They are not the heavy, bulky things they look like they are. So let's start the testing. First up, are they any good for camp activities? Well, I am certainly not an accomplished swordsman, but we've got a stick in front of us here, about 25mm diameter. Let's see what we do. Let's go up in thickness. So we're up at about 35 millimeters now. So that last one obviously is split out now, and it's at the limit of what I can do. Like I said, I'm no swordsman. But are they bush clearing tools? Well, no, they're not. I mean, they're too delicate for that. That's not what they're for. Can they do it? Yeah. Kind of. And what about sharpening defensive stakes for the camp? We've all seen that scene in the 13th Warrior where Antonio Banderas just comes up and he cleaves the 3-inch stake straight through, perfectly sharp point. But I'm not sure that's the reality. So first of all, you've got to strike with the centre of percussion. It's not on the tip, it's not back here. It's, just in a little bit, you'll find it. But the point is, that's where it cuts best. Now it does do it. I can't deny it. But it's a little bit awkward. It's especially awkward with a longer blade like this because the centre of percussion is further forward. It's just not the tool for the job. And the other thing is, swords absolutely hate that rapid deceleration. It's not good for them. And the people who own them know that. But the people who own them also own axes. And an axe perfectly suited to the job. And the thing is, that for a swordsman is going to be far less valuable in the battle tomorrow than their very precious sword. They're not going to do it. Could you? Kind of. Would you? No, not in a million. Here we have a ballistic gel torso that has definitely seen better days. It was actually left here by the guys at History Hit when they came and did some filming. Go check out their channel. And then on that, we are now going to put a fairly low grade padded Gambeson. So this has got cotton canvas on the inside and outside, thick felt wadding, wool felt wadding on the inside. The burns are actually from another film where I was shooting fire arrows at it, so go check that one out too. And we're going to hit it first of all with the cleaver falchion reasonably sharp. Next, we'll do it razor sharp. So we're going to start striking with falchions which are reasonably sharp. So this is like most people's kitchen knives would be. I wouldn't want to push hard on it, but it's not instantly cutting me. So it's a good edge. No. It's a good edge that didn't really do very much. And now the clip point. Same deal. It's got a good edge on it, but it's not a razor. Nope, not a lot. I mean, the guy's hurting inside. Fabric armour doesn't stop you from impact damage, but it does stop you from getting bits chopped off. I've now sharpened up the falchions and they are razor sharp. Have a look at this. Don't do it at home though. So here we have one falchion. And one shave. Razor sharp. Razor sharp falchion, Gambeson. Oh, that's a bit nicer. Well, cleaver falchion gave a massive gash. Let's see what this does. Oh, that is nave to clutch. Oh, ouch. So sharp is a very, very different beast. So clip point here to here. So presumably it's gone about that deep into the ballistic gel. This is old now, don't take anything from it. Besides, anyway, it's for bullets and stuff, it's not for swords, but yeah, it's about 2.5 inches, 60-65 mil deep. And then I suppose you'd expect it really, lighter, shorter, therefore slower. The cleaver falchion has not actually cut as much. Saying that, of course, smaller, shorter, lighter, more manoeuvrable, and still cuts like a demon. Sharp really counts, because it was sharp before. Shaving sharp, that's a different thing. Time to see what it does against mail. Our guy is now wearing mail and a Gambeson, and they work as a great combination. Let's see what they do against this. I haven't even bothered getting the blunt falchion out. I'm doing it with a sharp. Well, nothing going on there. Let's go again. So, 2 strikes of nothingness. Bit of edge damage, but you know, not horrendous. But the thing is, you have to remember, that is what mail is for, is against slashing, cutting blows. It still allows impact force to come through. Those wouldn't have been nice. And it's not so good against piercing things like arrows and spears. But swords, axes, it's what it's made for, and it's doing the job. We'll go a bit bigger. So again, razor sharp. Just got a bit of ring deformation, that's it. That's all we're getting. So the falchion has done nothing to the mail. What has the mail done to the falchion? Well, there is a little bit of edge damage. You'd expect that. It's pretty minimal though. It's still absolutely a slicing sword. But the thing is, it's a falchion. It's for cutting. There is very little beef in this blade right behind the cutting edge. It's behaving the way you'd expect it to. But what's coming next is plate armour. This is so gonna hurt me. But we're gonna see if Lord of the Rings and all those film tropes are true. Can you cut plate armour? Oh, I'm not looking forward to it. So swords in general don't like striking hard targets. It's not what they're for. And by the time plate comes around, it's not really about trying to cut your way through plate, rather obviously. It's not about bludgeoning the person inside. What it is, it's about poking holes in the bits that you can find that you can poke holes in. And so really, this kind of impact like this is something you see in films. It's not the reality of what fighting would have been at the time. But nonetheless, clearly, I'm going to see if I can cleave this breastplate in half. No. I have, on the other hand, made a nice score right across it. But that's it. This is our impact line here. And to be honest, that is nothing but sword abuse. People would not aim to do those kind of strikes because the guy inside couldn't care less. Tiny little bit of a dent, but there's an air cavity behind there anyway, and the mail, and the padding. So really, nothing has been done to the guy inside. Utterly pointless. Let's conclude. So basically, falchions are sophisticated. They're not overweight steel bars. They're really well-designed tools for the job. That job is cutting. They're not for camp activity. They're not for bushcraft. It's not what it's about. Fabric, well, they deal with fabric armour, but it is fabric armour. It might just be fabric, but the reason that it's armour is that it works really well. But you can overcome that with a falchion if you make it very, very sharp. That's fine. Mail, falchions don't touch it. Blunt force trauma will pass through the mail though. So actually, you know, onto the ribs, maybe a hard blow into the stomach, shoulders, it's still going to do damage even though it's not cutting. And it is a very fine line that the energy is being concentrated on. So actually, if you've got to strike somebody in mail, you'll get some edge damage, but you know, it's fine. It's still a usable sword. Plate, clearly doesn't touch it. Never expected it would. Be an idiot if you tried. So that's it. But what we're going to do now, before we go, because I know you want to see it, pork rolls and a very, very sharp cleaver falchion. And don't forget, guys, all the falchions featured here today available from todcutler.com. We've also got a Patreon page, so if that's your thing, come on down, work out how you can help us and get involved in these films. Anyway, bye. That'll do.